What's up, guys? I'm Alex Rudisill, and I designed the cover for The Singularity by Bobobot. So my background is, when I was younger, my mom actually got me into photography a lot, and I really liked it. I mean, I've been taking pictures since I can't even remember how old. Old cameras used to have to develop the film, back in the old days when film still needed to be developed. When I was 18 or 19, a friend of mine got me a copy of Photoshop. I started playing around in that, taking my photos in there, editing them, manipulating them, cropping, filters, all that kind of stuff, and it just kind of morphed from there. And I said, man, I really, really like this. I really want to pursue something. And I went to art school, kind of morphed into digital design and creation, stuff like that. But mainly I've always liked to create ever since I was a child.
So I had the idea for The Singularity for a long time. Normally I do my own artwork for my albums, but I thought this time I wanted to bring someone else in. I really thought a collaboration was going to be the best route to take. So I'd seen work that my buddy Al had done, and I wanted to pursue that. I thought to myself, I like Al's work, and I like Al as a person, so I think he'd do a great job. So I hit him up, and to my surprise, he said, yeah, probably.
When Dan came to me with when Bobobot came to me in a dream, a celestial dream, it was actually all zeros and ones, came straight into my brain. Dan explained to me the idea behind the album and its concept, and he actually let me listen to a few tracks so I could get in the mindset for these.
He asked if he could hear a few tracks, and I sent him the album in progress. Most of it I had done pre-mixes on. There was one or two songs that were still being worked on, so I sent him partial snippets. But he heard mostly the whole thing.
And then I did up a bunch of sketches of what I thought it felt like, what came into my mind's eye for this creation. We went back and forth, bounced ideas off each other, and finally came to a conclusion of actually multiple sketches combined into one.
He was like, hey, I came up with a lot of ideas, and he sketched out, I don't know, maybe 10 sketches. I was like, wow, I like almost all this stuff. These are great ideas.
Dan said, hey, I like 3 of these different ones, but I want to put them all together. And I was like, all right.
Why not take all the best parts of the ideas that he's done? So what I did was, I have a simple, a Photoshop type thing on my phone. I took the pieces that he sent me, and I made this crazy puzzle piece looking thing and sent it back to him. And I said, can we do something like this, where we're using all of your ideas and centered around this piece that I really like? And he was like, yeah, sure, cool.
We took 3 of my original ideas and then just compressed them into one. I think what really inspired me about doing these sketches was just the idea I love for science fiction all my life. You incorporate this idea of robots understanding emotions and love, and that reality of what would happen if a robot could love. What would be the outcome? How could that even come into reality? And I think that's what really kind of inspired me. I've always enjoyed the concept of artificial intelligence, and Terminator 2 was one of my favorite movies of all time. That whole idea behind, is this being sentient? Was he programmed to save John Connor? And then John Connor develops this relationship with this robot who has no feelings. And at the end, you feel sad when he has to lower himself into the pit, because you feel emotional attachment to this machine. It's a machine, obviously, but you still have that attachment. We still attach ourselves to inanimate objects. We all have our phones right next to us, and if we don't have it for one day, we don't know what to do. We're attached. And it just shows the dependency that we have on technology, and it's really strong. We originally had this very generic kind of robot, and Dan said, hey, I kind of want to do this other robot that I have an inspiration on, have a childhood kinship with.
He sent me his work in progress, and I liked it a lot. But the only thing I was thinking that would kind of make it more interesting was if he would change the robot to be Bobobot. Partially what Bobobot is this character that used to be on this anime that I watched as a kid, and he was called the Bobobot. And sometimes, because of my last name, people would call me Bobobot. It's really weird about Bobobot too, because now he's not known as Bobobot anymore. He's known as Boss Robot, which is kind of an interesting thing. It seems to me like they took Bobobot and rebranded him as Boss Robot. I'm not sure why they did that. So anyway, I'm claiming Bobobot as my own now. I asked Alex if he could use that design or something, reminiscent of that design, just to add some interesting cohesion to it. He was more than happy to do it. At least that's the perception I had.
I designed the robot to what he wanted, and I think it turned out better than the original robot. I think it's really unique. It's a very unique kind of robot design that you don't really see very often, and it turned out really well. I think the whole idea behind the cover was just a very unique, something you don't see any before. It's a large robot, and in his center chest cavity there's a heart-type microchip, and it has all the circuits coming off of it, wires leading down to a human and a robot. So it's this compelling idea of love. What is love? What does love mean? How can you process love if you're a sentient or non-sentient being? What does it even mean? A lot of people who are alive don't even know what love is, and it's a very deep concept.
So the back cover, originally in the artwork I had sent him, I wanted to keep that hand of God thing up above in the clouds behind everything that was going on. But that little piece in there, I still wanted on the album somewhere. So I asked Alex, hey, could we use that as the back cover?
The background cover art actually was one of my original sketches, and Dan said we should put that on the back. Mainly it's just the idea of the very famous painting on the Sistine Chapel of Adam and God reaching out and touching. I think it's Adam or somebody and God reaching out and touching fingertips, like the creation of life. It's a robot hand saying this is the creation of robot life or artificial intelligence.
I want to be clear about this. I really wanted Alex to have his own piece of art in this. I wanted it to be him. So for me to suggest changes, that's really tough for me. At the same time, it seems to be what he wants as well. He wants that feedback to know about the changes.
All in all, I really liked working on this. Dan's a really great guy, and his music is really inspiring, and it just inspired me to do this piece, and we worked together really well, and we came up with something that was, I think, wholly unique. I would say if you haven't listened to the album, you really should. He put a lot of work into it, and it really shows. He's a very talented musical individual, and you can tell he just puts his heart and soul into his work. It inspired me to create what I created. I really liked working on this. It was a fun idea that came to life, and that's all I have to say about that.
So yeah, I'm really happy with the way that came out. Whoop.